It's full of maggots. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. That looks like testicles. Hello everyone, today I'm watching Banned and Controversial Foods by Salmonella Academy. This video just came out 10 hours ago, so let's watch it right away. I assume a lot of this food is gonna come from the United States.
Hey Majors, so I'd like to start off with a little biology lesson. When a species finds itself living on an island, it can start to evolve in strange ways based on the different pressures applied by the new environment. This is called island syndrome, and while it can manifest in a lot of ways, the biggest driving force is often
That is very interesting, but so far I don't see how that has anything to do with food.
a lack of predators. For example, the dodo lost its ability to fly since there was nothing to flee from. The Saint Kilda field mouse got twice as big since it no longer had to hide. And with no one around to bully them, the Sardinians started putting maggots in their cheese. Meet Kazumatsu, literal translation, rotten cheese. It's made by taking a perfectly good wheel of pecorino and letting a special type of fly lay eggs in it. The fly babies then work to
Yeah, I've heard of this before. I don't understand how someone can eat this and think it's appetizing. It's disgusting, it really is. Like, it's full of maggots.
partially digest the cheese, rendering it goopy and wet and maybe quite tasty and worm-filled. Now, cheese as a concept is already quite suspect. It's clotted milk that you fill with bacteria and mold and let sit for a
pretty
while.
much.
But cheese is safe and delicious. Cheese is my friend. I trust cheese. So my guard would be down around Kazumatsu. I've learned to look past a cheese's childhood. Strange upbringings are what give them their character. But it turns out, those maggots are still alive. And if you don't chew well enough, they can cause enteric myiasis, which is a fancy term for fly larvae living in your intestines. So
Can someone explain to me how risking something that could have such terrible health effects on you is worth it? Like, who sees this, realizes, oh, there's a risk that there could be larvae and flies living in my intestines? I would consider that worth the risk. I'll still eat the cheese. Like, if it has such a health risk, I would not eat it because I don't think it's worth it. Even if the chance of getting those larvae in my intestines is really small, it's still just not worth the risk. I mean, it's just cheese. Just choose a different type of cheese.
symptoms are similar to food poisoning, except with the added psychic pain of knowing that, again, your bowels are full of squiggly new friends.
Yeah.
It's for this reason that Kazumatsu is banned in the EU and elsewhere. A black market still exists.
Very
which is
good.
wild, and it's not a small one. In 2019, the illicit Kazumatsu trade was estimated to be worth 2 to 3 million euros annually. Personally, I would just do it prohibition style, like definitely don't put these fly eggs on this sumptuous wheel of pecorino. But if you do, you absolutely shouldn't keep it warm and damp for a week. But although it's traditional to leave the larvae alive when you eat your maggot cheese, some consumers still prefer them dead, shockingly. In that
Very
case,
good.
one puts the cheese in a sealed bag, and when the maggots run out of oxygen, they writhe around and fling themselves all over the place. This is heard as a distinct pitter-patter against the walls of the bag, and when the sound stops, the contents are ready to eat, like popcorn. Shark fin soup is
So you're still eating the maggots though? You're still eating them. I guess that's not that bad because they're dead, but that's still disgusting.
one most of us have heard about already, mostly in reference to its effect on shark populations and the wastefulness that goes into making it. Until recently, though, I never looked into the nature of the dish itself. I figured,
Isn't hunting sharks for their fins illegal in most of the world? Is it?
right, the fins
I
are
don't
just
know.
the only part of the shark worth eating. Big whoop, it's probably not much different from, like, swordfish. Apparently, though, I had it backwards. Shark fins aren't even meat. They're made almost entirely of cartilage and collagen. They are the last part we should be eating. That's why it's only made into soup, because without being soaked in broth, it has zero flavor or nutritional value on its own. Their only redeeming quality is their unique mouthfeel due to how stringily the collagen grows.
That's
in
it?
Structures called ceratotrichia. The texture has been described as somewhere between chewy and crunchy, which I find describes most things, actually. Other adjectives present on Wikipedia include snappy, gelatinous, and sinewy. The exact sensation of eating this substance remains a mystery to me, and the unintended side effect of all this research is that I now really want to try it. Like, it's a big trade. I've got to be the one that's wrong. There is imitation shark fin soup available, but I've already decided that it's not nearly as good. So I've come up with a compromise to this controversy. Everyone on Earth gets just one bite. Say there's 10 bites to a fin, 4 fins to a shark, 200 million sharks
That's
die,
a lot of,
sure,
that's
a
a
necessary
lot of dead
casualty,
sharks.
but then we can end the practice forever. All done. You can finally rest, Mr. Ming. Come here, baby. Aww. Aki. What? Aki. Where? Aki. The aki is a fruit originally from West Africa, which is most commonly associated with Jamaican cuisine, where it appears in such dishes as aki and saltfish. These alien kidneys here are called the...
Okay, I'm just gonna say it. That looks like testicles. It does. You can't tell me it doesn't. Because it really does look like... It looks like balls. It really does. It also looks like kidneys. But I would... The first thing that popped into mind when I saw that were balls, not kidneys.
The arils, and they're the only part of the fruit that's actually eaten. Their flavor is on the savory side, being described as kind of nutty or bean-like. What makes the aki controversial,
See? Nutty. Like I said, balls.
though, is the effects it can cause when prepared improperly. If the arils are allowed to completely ripen, they're harmless. But if you eat them too early, or don't thoroughly clean off all the non-aril stuff, they can cause Jamaican vomiting sickness. This disease doesn't sound real. It sounds like it belongs next to Eastern sweats and Tangerian bone grindings. But that's actually an official term, and as for symptoms, it does what it says on the tin. Plus maybe death. While aki-based products aren't an official term, and as for
You
symptoms,
can die
it
from
does
this?
what it says on the tin.
Abdominal discomfort and sudden onset vomiting.
Plus maybe...
Death may ensue. Yeah, once again, not worth it.
While aki-based products aren't
Not
outright
worth the
illegal
risk.
in the United States, they are very tightly regulated, and the raw fruit itself cannot be imported. So if you're American and want to try it, your options are fully cooked canned aki or going to Florida where a few people grow it domestically. Next we have bird's nest soup. This is another one that I've vaguely heard of, and for years I just assumed the name was a playful metaphor like ants on a log or shit on a shingle. Turns out, nope.
Shit on a shingle, okay.
This dish contains an actual bird nest, not like a pile of twigs like I was picturing, but rather a specific type of nest only made by certain species of swiftlets. These nests are mostly made out of mucins, which are a set of proteins that, among other things, serve to thicken all those wonderful secretions our bodies make. There's a little bit in human saliva, a little bit more in mucus, and in swiftlet saliva, look out, pal.
So you're basically eating mucus, technically. How does that sound appealing to anyone? How could that possibly taste good?
All the swiftlet does is it finds a nice wall, starts laying out fat strings of slobber, which dry, and eventually she's got a nice place to roost. That
so yeah,
is,
you're
right up
eating
until
spit,
some gourmand
bird
says,
spit.
Today I crave bird spit. You can keep the eggs though.
And they then reconstitute it back into its original gelatinous texture.
That looks like a mix of honey. That looks like honey, but in a jelly state. It looks like jelly, but honey. You know what I mean. But after knowing what it is, I still deem it to be incredibly gross and I would not eat that.
Unfortunately, these nests can't enter the US since, believe it or not, eating bird saliva is a great way to catch bird flu. And now the time has come to speak
No
of
way!
the ortolan. The ortolan is a kind of bunting, which is a sort of passerine, which is
What
a
is with
type
these
of
sound
bird.
effects?
They're birds. Like many animals, they have a long history of being eaten by the French. But what separates the ortolan...
What do the French not eat? They eat snails, they eat frogs, and now they eat birds. Is anyone surprised?
From your average squab or pheasant is the unique way in which it is prepared and eaten. They're typically caught with nets and...
I mean, this isn't as bad as snails or frogs, but...
kept in the dark, which causes them to overeat for some reason. Once it's about twice as fat, the entire bird is then thrown into a container of brandy, alive, and sealed in. While this serves to marinate the creature, it also drowns in the process, thereby killing one bird with no stones. The ortolan is then roasted, plucked, and presented.
This sounds like animal cruelty. And not like the animal cruelty that animal rights activists usually talk about. This is actual animal cruelty. Like, this should not be allowed. I mean, if you're gonna eat the bird, at least kill it. Don't drown it while it's still alive. Just Just kill it and get it over with. Like, come on.
Presented whole to the consumer, who inserts the carcass into their mouth, feet first. As they chew, one hand continues holding the bird's head, while the other picks out the larger bones. This whole ritual is usually performed with a towel or large napkin over one's head. There's a few explanations for the purpose of the towel. Some say it's just there to keep the aromas in, while others say it's there to, quote, shield from God's eyes the shame of such a decadent and disgraceful act.
I agree with the second one.
I'm okay with not trying, actually. Notable fans of this dish include, not joking, Bill Cosby and the guy who invented the lobotomy. To be part of that social club. Our mission is to eat birds
Oh yeah, the lobotomy. I still have a video that I didn't post on that.
whole and then make people not remember things. Killing ortolans was banned across the EU in 2007, not for any ethical reason, but because French people did this so much that the entire ortolan population was threatened. Thankfully, as of
Holy
2018,
shit.
their conservation status is under least concern, so hopefully the French can get back to it soon. Anyway, that's all I have for today.
No.
Until next time, I'm Salmonella, and thank you for watching.
That last one is really fucked up, because that really was just animal cruelty. I can understand killing an animal and eating it after that, but drowning it alive? That's fucked up! No wonder they hide underneath the towel, blanket, whatever it was. 'Cause, yeah, hide the shame. Well, like and subscribe, comment, link to my Discord server is down in the description below, so check that out if you want, and I will see you in the next video.